In a dramatic and unprecedented turn of events, the South African High Court has officially sanctioned President Cyril Ramaphosa for his failure to adequately account for the recent controversial arrests of several high-ranking ANC members. The court's ruling comes amid mounting public outrage, internal party disarray, and growing demands for transparency and accountability from the highest office in the land. The ruling, handed down in Johannesburg on Monday morning, marks a significant blow to Ramaphosa's leadership and threatens to shake the already fragile foundation of his presidency. It follows weeks of national scrutiny and political turmoil surrounding the arrests, which critics have labeled as selective, politically motivated, and devoid of due process. The controversy began when a string of ANC members, some of them influential provincial and national figures, were arrested under what the National Prosecuting Authority, NPA, claimed were charges of corruption, money laundering, and abuse of public funds. Among the arrested were members of Ramaphosa's own faction, as well as rival factions within the ruling party. While the NPA insisted that these arrests were based on solid investigations and legal grounds, observers quickly noted the inconsistencies, procedural flaws, and lack of transparency in how the arrests were conducted. The situation escalated when Parliament requested a formal explanation from President Ramaphosa regarding the nature, timing, and authorization of these arrests, particularly why they seem to target certain members more than others. Rather than offering a detailed response, the president delivered a vague and evasive reply, deflecting responsibility to the NPA and the police services, saying he had no direct involvement in the law enforcement actions. This sparked outrage not only from opposition parties but from within the ANC itself. A faction of senior ANC leaders accused Ramaphosa of using state institutions to neutralize internal rivals under the guise of anti-corruption. The High Court's judgment, which followed an urgent application brought forward by a coalition of civil rights groups and political watchdogs, found President Ramaphosa in violation of his constitutional duty to provide full and transparent oversight in matters involving state authority, especially when they concern the political freedoms and legal rights of South African citizens, including sitting public officials. The court was unequivocal in its findings: the president cannot absolve himself of responsibility when state institutions act in ways that infringe on the constitutional rights of individuals, particularly where there is credible concern of abuse of power. The office of the president is not above the law, and silence in the face of injustice is not a constitutional option. In addition to the sanction, the court ordered the president to file a comprehensive affidavit within 14 days detailing the extent of his knowledge, involvement, or delegation of authority in the matter. Failure to comply, the court warned, may result in further legal consequences, including potential contempt proceedings. The political repercussions were immediate. Opposition parties like the EFF, DA, and Action SA held urgent press briefings, calling for a motion of no confidence in President Ramaphosa. EFF leader Julius Malema said, "This is the beginning of the end for Ramaphosa. He has weaponized the state, and now the judiciary is calling him out. We warn the people of South Africa about this abuse of power." Even within the ANC, fissures have widened. Secretary General Michael Mbalula, who initially supported Ramaphosa's anti-corruption drive, has now called for an internal investigation into how and why certain members were targeted. Meanwhile, the ANC Women's League and Youth League have both issued statements condemning the president's failure to uphold transparency, suggesting that the ruling party must clean house from within. Ramaphosa's presidency, once seen as a hopeful new chapter following the corruption-riddled Zuma era, is now teetering on the edge. His carefully crafted image as a reformer and anti-corruption crusader is crumbling under the weight of these revelations. The court sanction adds a legal dimension to what is fast becoming a full-blown legitimacy crisis. For the people of South Africa, the court's decision signals a turning point, a reminder that no leader is immune to the law, and that justice, however delayed, can still find its way to the very top. With Ramaphosa now legally compelled to respond, and multiple factions within the ANC baying for clarity, the coming weeks may define not just the fate of his presidency, but the direction of South Africa's democracy. As the country watches closely, one thing is certain: silence will no longer be tolerated from those who hold the highest office. The people want answers, and this time, the courts agree.